So I think I'm officially an influencer, guys, because I've been sent one of these, and it's an Aoocci. And what it is basically is a screen that I'm going to put somewhere on the bike so that I can use Apple CarPlay. And as it happens, I have seen a review on these from the Missenden Flyer, Andy, who I'm probably his biggest fan. I watch all his stuff. So if you're out there, Andy, give us a subscribe. Anyway, I was contacted by Aoocci literally about 2 weeks ago. I've been away on holiday for a week, and they basically said they liked my videos and they wondered whether I'd do a video on this. And actually, it falls in line with what I'm trying to achieve, because any of those of you that are following me know that I'm looking for some kind of dashboard sat-nav solution, and I'm not keen on having my phone up on the dashboard. And actually I fitted the quad lock system, which I've got to be honest with you, yes, it does what it says it's going to do, but do I want my phone up on the dashboard? No, I never did. So immediately after I fitted it, I was like, well, I've got to find something else. And literally about a week later, I got an email from these guys, and they said, would I like to do a video? And I said, yeah, why not? Send me one out. And they gave me an option of this one, the C3, which I believe is a Pro now. It's a newer version of it, I think. And the C7. And the C7 is massive. I mean, I think it means that it's a 7-inch screen. So, I mean, it's probably about the size of this box. And I'm not really sure why you'd ever want that on your motorbike, unless you maybe got like a massive BMW. But then they've already got, I think they've already got like a sat-nav built into them anyway. So, I don't know. So I've opted for the C3. So I think what we'll do is I'll just change the camera angle. We'll do a bit of an unboxing. And then from there, I'm going to see if I can fit it on my trusty 2-month-old Xadv, and then see if it works, give it a go, and see if it's any better than the Beeline Moto 2, which I've all but thrown in the bin because I've had enough of it. It's an okay product in my opinion for like going around areas that you might know a little bit, but there's just not enough information. The quad lock, again, do I want my phone up on the dashboard? There's another video where I've linked it to the Honda Road Sync app, and I've got to be honest with you, that's not the answer either. There's just not enough information. You might as well just have a Beeline running, and then you've got your phone. You haven't really achieved anything positive. So actually, perhaps this is going to be the answer. So let's open it up and have a look. Why haven't you subscribed? You only have to click that little button. Come on, sort it out. Right, I'm going to do my magic hands video again. And so first of all, I think, you know, the packaging's quite nice. It's clearly going to be a product made in China, as we all know. And I have had this out. I had a little quick look at it the other day. Obviously, what I will do is, these guys obviously don't just do motorbike stuff, it's cars as well. Hence why they've got this leading car tech solutions on the box. Right, little pamphlet out of the top, basic instructions. Some precautions, blah, blah, blah. Connect to Bluetooth headphones or helmet, blah, blah, blah. I've done no research on this other than I've watched Andy's movie quite a while ago. I think it's about 8 months ago now. So yeah, it looks pretty simple. It's a single little clamp that goes onto the back of it. That all looks relatively easy to understand. And then the device itself, the reason why I've gone for the C3 is basically because of the size of it. And let's just take you over to the bike and I'll show you what I mean. So if I wanted to install this on the bike, it wants to probably go on the handlebars here somewhere. And it definitely does not want to be any bigger than that, because there's not really a lot of real estate here. And I suppose you could mount it up there on a little bar, but then obviously then you can't bring the screen all the way down. So I think it's a handlebar situation. So this is why I've gone for the C3. Right, go back over here and have a little look what else is in the box. So, right, you get the little screen. It's made of metal. Not really, I don't know, there's not really much to sort of tell you about this product until you switch it on. So there you go, power cable goes down to your battery, and then you get a little box of bits, which is obviously going to be the mount. So you get the mount there. Let's have a little fiddle with that in a moment. You get a power lead, which goes straight to your battery. There's also on this one tyre pressure monitoring valves. I haven't actually looked, but I'm not convinced that they actually will fit on the Xadv. We'll have a look, obviously, in the video. And you get some more Chinesium tools, which, I mean, I understand why all these companies send these things out. Obviously, little zip ties and stuff's going to be helpful. But I don't know, if you're tinkering around with this stuff, do you really not have a couple of Allen keys? I mean, how many Allen keys do we have to produce in this world? So anyway, right, let's move this a little bit out of the way, this little bit out of the way. The tyre pressure monitoring valves, they just simply screw on to your valve. No idea if there's a battery in there or whatever, I can't really see. So the only thing left is this little mount jobby, and it's quite simple. This part here has got these sort of rubber grommets, which I can only assume are there to help alleviate any vibrations, which is fine. And then that will screw directly onto the back of there. That's fairly obvious. This bit goes on that bit, and then those bits go around your bar, and then one of the bolts sticks all the way through and you bolt it up. So it looks pretty straightforward to mount to the bars. The question's going to be, what is it going to be like to actually wire it up to the battery on the Xadv? Because anyone that's got one of these is going to know that actually it's not quite as straightforward as it might be on a motorbike, because we've got this situation going on. So I'm going to have to wire it, I'm going to have to mount it up here, and then follow this bit of wiring that goes up underneath this part, which is where your air filter box is, and then it's going to have to go underneath there and then into here somewhere, because the battery is down inside there. So the question is, how much of this bike am I going to have to take off, you know, all the panels and bits and pieces to get it to the battery? And I'll be honest with you, I already wired in, I've got a heated jacket and heated trousers, which I'm going to do a sort of bit of a secondary review of later in the year when it gets colder. And what I've actually done is I've hardwired those into the bike, and that's the plug there. And I managed to feed it through. It was a real faff. It took me about 45 minutes to feed it through, and then it's actually inside there, and you can't see it at all. It goes directly to the battery. So I was pretty pleased with that. And then you just tuck this little bit of cable in underneath there when you're not using it, and then you've got no problems. So hopefully we can get that wired in to the Xadv and get it to work. So let's give that a go, eh? Okay, the first thing I think we're going to try and ascertain, let's get the seat open so that that's not in the way, is let's work out whether we're actually going to be able to get this lead from the battery to where it needs to go lengthwise. So we've got a fair bit to play with, I suppose, because let's just grab the screen from my little workstation. You've also got quite a bit of cable on the screen itself. So that bit of cable, should we say, is going to get us just pop that behind the bars. Let's say the screen's going to sit there somewhere like so, without breaking it, he says. Stay. That's going to get us halfway down the air box. So in reality, we've still got, what's this, about 1.5 meters to just get us to the battery. So there's definitely length there. The question is there going to be space to wire through this little plug? And that is going to quite simply push together and then screw up. So that bit's very easy. And to connect this to the battery is super easy as well. So really, especially on a motorbike, I think this is possibly something that might only take you, depending on the bike, 10 minutes to 30 minutes to wire this up. But I'm a little bit sort of aware that this is going to be a bit more of a job. I'm hoping I don't have to take the seat off. I've got a feeling I will, but well, what can we do? Let's give it a go. I think the first thing to do is to remove this airbox cover, which I've already done in an earlier video where I changed out for a different air filter. Now, what did we need? Something like a 5mm Allen key. Right, so there's 2 5mm on the sides, one each side. One there and one there. That's easy enough. And then what's next? You've got these little push clips. I'm trying to remember how they work. So I'm not actually a professional bike mechanic. So I'm pretty sure you just push those, yeah, push and push. And then you carefully remove those clips. Right, I did show this on the other video, so how these little clips work. So they've got a little pin inside, and as you push them in, it holds it. And to release them, you just push it the next stage. So it's very easy to do. Don't be afraid of removing those. Right, that's 1 and 2. And then, as I remember, it's just a case of sort of like pulling this or something. You have to push it and pull it. And oh, there we go. So she's off. And then I think somebody told me you should be able to just unclip this from the bike. Quite where that is, I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's 1, but not 2. Oh, you only need 1, maybe. Maybe that's off now. No. One there. One there. Yeah, I'm liking it. It's a bit cozy in here. I don't think there's too much point me showing you exactly what I'm doing. I'm just trying to remove this panel out of the way. And actually, it could be that you don't need to completely remove this panel to wire this. You could just move it out of the way, but I think for the sake of the video, it might be easier to sort of see a bit more of what's going on. Right, so I've successfully unclipped that. So inside there was 2 clips, and this one was underneath another one which I had to just pop off out of the way. So at least I now know how to get that off, and that makes changing the air filter way easier now that I know that that comes off. So the next step, running it down to here, is going to be super easy, and the next step is getting it from there inside of the seat. So let's have a little look. The seat's open. I've got a couple of bits of junk in there. Let's get them out of the way. Right, I think the thing to do at this stage is probably pop you guys on a different mount. So bear with me. So I've got a different little mount here. This is my travel mount. So this is the reality. Right, so we've got to get from here through there somewhere into here, and I do happen to know that you can see down through there there is some gap there. So perhaps what we need to do is, now I'm kind of loath to try and remove this panel because I dare say there's quite a lot to have to remove to get to it, but I do happen to know that this back panel here is relatively easy to get off, as I remember. Let's have a little look together, see if I can remember what it was. I can't remember. All right, inside, that's where it is. So basically, here we go. I'll show you from this side. You've got an Allen key bolt there and one of those little push fittings there. So let's pop you down again so you can sort of see what I'm doing. It's very difficult to film these things by yourself. Right, there's a little push fit clip. So I've got him off. Let's get him out. That's that. Put that in my pocket. And then perhaps it's another 5 mil. Oh yes it is. This one's never been off, so it's a little bit tight. And we're struggling for space on it. I'm on it, but only on the ball. No. See, I was really hoping I didn't have to take the seat off, so. All right, yeah, I think we've loosened it somewhat. Be stronger. Right, okay, yes, yes. This is feeling good. Don't drop it. Now let's just check that that is the same as the other ones before I put it in my pocket, which it is. So I don't need to worry about that. And then, let's see. Oh, I think it just popped off last time. He says, as he snaps it. Yep. Oh yeah, that's another poppy off clip. Yeah, yeah. Yes! Side panel successfully removed. I'm liking this, it's already not too bad. Right, so now all we've got to do is get from here to there. So let's get another 5 mil out of the way. that will then hopefully allow us to poke through the cable. So now you can go through there, round the back of there, hello, and then I think this is going to be it. I think this is all we need. So let's get our cable ready. It's this jobby. So, oh, we've got a tangly. Set it out of the way. Right, so this is my proposal. I think that I'm going to. Now, 1 minute, as I remember, inside here, so you've got like a little battery cover. Hoping you can see in there. Yeah, like so. So you've got 4 of these little push pins. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you've got to get them out with your fingernail or something. I hope you can sort of see something down here. Probably see more than I can. 1, 2, 3. Got a habit of dropping things, haven't you? And then you lose them. 4. So now that remove that out of the way. Yes, and I was right. There is a gap, which I actually made this. Here, I'll take you off the tripod. Ooh. I actually made a gap there, look, with a drill to pass this other cable through. So this might come in handy now, because I suspect what we'll have to do is reuse that hole. So let's pop you around there so you can see what I'm doing, hopefully. And I think what's going to have to happen is we are going to have to poke this cable through there, and it fits perfectly. Now, can we manipulate it around? I'm trying to see where it goes from there. Again, this seat is massively in the way of all these kind of jobs. Oh, I can get that in there, but it's now facing the wrong way. Oh yeah. Hello. I can see you. Come to me. Come on. Yes. Yes. Right. So, only because I managed to I've pre-made a hole in the side of my battery box, I can pull this through now. So, I'm not sure I need all of it. So we're through there. Now, we want to run next to the fuel tank, this is. So I basically can just, well, it's super easy really for me, I think. Well, he said. Just lay that there for the time being. And the hardest bit is going to be this bit here, because at the moment we haven't got a way to see it. So I'm going to just try and thread it in. Go on, baby. Surprise us. Be easy. Come on. Where are you? I can't feel it. That's a shame. So we're hoping then it's going to pop up in here somewhere. So I'll just make sure the camera is in the right position. I'll pop round here. And hopefully, oh, I think I can see it. I can, I believe I can. Oh, I'm getting excited. Ooh. I thought I saw it then. I might have nudged it out of the way with my finger. That was a bit of a blow. Well, I've got to say, guys, this is feeling very positive so far. I've got it. Look. He's only gone and done it. So, let's face it, so far, this has been pretty easy. Right, I'll put the little tool out of the way. Now, that's looped around here, look. Let's see what you can see. Right, that's got a bit of a, it's got stuck around there in my excitement. Let's get that back over there, there we go. Now, I just have to pull that a little way. Oh, and then we're in. So there we go. Now the final piece of the puzzle is going to be the screen cable, which I think needs to be going with the other wiring. So let's, this is always never easy one-handed. So, with the wonders of editing. Right, so I think that's a good place for you to sit. So I think that's going to want to go down through here, and then just leave a bit loosey goosey. That can run to there-ish, and then this has now got to run through here, just enough room for that. Now where? Oh, it wants to go, I'll tell you what, it wants to go just there, I believe. Somehow. Oh, I know what to do. You just go, yeah, just like that. I could probably do this with a tool, couldn't I? Yes, the little Allen key. This isn't helping. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh mama. Oh. I'll get a bit of a kink on it, maybe it might help it. Right, let's fish that with the Allen key. Come on. No! So difficult to do this when you don't have time. Ah, right, come on. Yeah, no. Right, okay. There she is, look, oh, mummy, don't lose me. Yes. Right, so we're up and round that one. I was hoping to go this side of that little bit of rubber grommet there, but I don't actually know if I can now. Yes, I can. So that's going to follow that, and then this can then go, let's move you out of the way, that can then go up there, like so, and then we've got more than enough cable to connect to. So I think what I'm going to do is dangle that down there, dangle that down there, connecty, like so, push that together, twist that, and then push that back in, and we can take out the slack a little bit. Now we've got the cable routed, so make sure you can see what I'm doing, all the way back to the battery. Just take out that little bit of slack if I can. No, I don't think I can now. Not sure why. Oh yeah, there we go. There we go, there we go. So the secret to this little job, unfortunately, is possibly having to modify the bike slightly. So I'm really hoping you can see in there where that cable is going through. I don't know what light there is. I'm hoping that you can see this. Right, now. So, yeah, you can see this on the camera. So where my finger is now, I've previously made a hole there to pass the other cable through. And you can see it's actually, the excess cable is tucked in there. So what I'm going to do is this excess cable, because there's going to be some, can also get wound up and slid in underneath the battery. So, right, okay. I think at this point, what we'd do is I'll pause the video and get ready to mount the thing onto the bars, and then wire it to the battery, and then all I've got to do is put the panels back together, which is only what, two pieces in the battery cover, and a couple of connectors, a couple of zip ties on just to keep it tidy up underneath the dash, and we're good to go. This is easy. I didn't think it was going to be this easy, but it is. Right, see you in a minute. Okay, I'm not sure exactly the order for the bits and pieces to mount this, but I'm going to start with the 4 bolts that hold this part of the clamp onto the back of the device. They're 3mm, and I suspect you don't, well, you want the rubber grommets to still be able to move, but maybe the bolts are exactly the right length so that when you do them up, it doesn't pinch the rubber. I suspect that's the case. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I believe that's the case. So it's just a case of pinching them up gently. Just thinking about theft of these devices, I think they're probably going to have to cut that cable to get it off, or something similar. So is it sort of anti-theft? I'm not really sure about that. I'm not sure how nickable these things are. Right, I've got the instrucciones, and it says I've got one of those. There's 2 different length bolts. It doesn't tell me which one's which particularly. One is longer than the other. So I'm going to say that the shorter of the 2 goes to the top with the locking nut. So let's leave that out the way for a moment. And then you've got a big side and a small side. The big side goes all the way through, and the small side is threaded only on one end. So it's going to go. Now this is the question. This is the question. So you're going to want this little bit somewhere, but you're not sure where yet. So we're going to have to do a little bit of a mock run here. So if that's like that, and that's like that, oh, we're just absolutely miles away from the handlebars. I want this to be as close to the handlebars as I can possibly get them. Get it? Oh no, I'm already not liking this. So, okay, maybe it wants to go this way around, maybe. So, this is my thinking. Then that needs to go, and I will say this, so it's come with a couple of different rubber pots for installing this, and I'm not sure, my handlebars are so chunky that I don't think you're going to fit any of those in. So let's just do it without for now. So it turns out that actually that is at the top. So I think if I do that up to where it needs to be one side, then I only need to do the other one, which I believe is a 5, yeah. And I get this centralised. Somewhere. Somewhere like so. And then I'm going to use this bit, put him in. Come on, baby. Right. So, so perhaps like so. Maybe there, like this. I don't know if it's going to get in the way of the screen. I don't think it wants to go there. I think, yeah, I think this is the best option at the moment. Right, okay. Got to make a decision, Dean, and this is it. So, drop the bolt. Right, pause that there. Different tool, let's use this. That's quicker. So that's that, basically. Then I need to go through there, and I suppose that's going to be a 10mm, so I'm going to need a 10mm spanner. And is this another 5? Yes. Right, so I just need a 10mm spanner, which, as luck would have it, I've just got here on my little toolbox. Out of the way. Screen. Right, so I think that wants to come up a little bit like so. I'm thinking the same angle or thereabouts as the main screen. I'm beginning to worry that it's going to obscure the screen a little bit. Gotta say. Right, I think I'm going to get a little ratchet for this. Not so easy to reach it. So once again, 10mm on the end. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of fettling with that, because the big the larger nut underneath needs a bit of a tighten up, but at the moment I think we're looking pretty good in here. So the last thing to do then is just wire it up. So, oh, can't undo that because I've unplugged it. So, right, the next thing to do then is to put this unit back on the front. Now, so hopefully you can see this, the way this works. You've got two tabs, one here and one here. So they're going to slide in, and then you've got these push parts, and then the rest of it is just hold on with the two screws and the two clips. So realistically it should be a bit of a cinch to get back in, he says. The main thing is to get these plugs back in as they were. If I can even remember where they went. Right, that's got to go down there into that one. It can only really go one way, so click. And then this one went underneath there. Hello, don't get broken. How was that on there? Goes behind there. Right, it's not really that difficult to do. It's just that one extra bit, sort of cable which gets in the way, which we've now sorted that. So there we go. Now I can open the seat. Now it's a case of just connecting the positive and the negative. Right, you join me in the middle of the process because I realised that actually I missed out a bolt, and that bolt goes on the other side of this part of the clamp. So I'm just taking these 4 screws back out. It's not really a big drama, it's just that I didn't look at the instructions properly, so it's my own fault. So quite simply what needs to happen is, let's just re-angle you a little bit. There is a small jobby. I just don't know what this crush washer's for, if I'm honest. Let's have a quick look at that thing. So yeah. So I don't know if you can see this, right? So you get this washer, and as far as I can see in the sort of drawing, I can't see where that thing goes. So we will just carry on regardless. So the first thing you want to do is put that little one in there so that you can then join this part to that part. You know, it makes sense. Right, yeah, there we go. My bad. All the tools are going to fall down now. Right. So this should have been earlier in the video. That one on there first, and then these 4 on the back of the unit over here. Then this one back on here with the locking nut on the end. So there we go. And I dare say, right, I think getting cable ties onto that is not going to be any issue for me having put this piece back on. So I think the thing to do is to just push those down like so, get this back in the position it's meant to be in somehow. He says, oh I see, we've made a boo-boo. That's it. Now that can go there. That's it. That's in the right position. So this was easy to put back together. You should just get 2 of the little push pins, make sure you push them out, line them up correctly, push the little pin in, that's 1, out, line up, push, 2 5mm, let's just use this because it's easier. One there, one this side. Just make sure that they're tight. Just a little pinch. No need to over tighten any of these bolts on this little job. And then the next bit going to be putting the side panel back on, which as I remember was literally, let me have a look, something did pop off here somewhere, there it goes, just one of these 5mm bolts, again. And then, so the side panel then, let's see how that goes on and off. So you've got 3 tabs here, 1, 2, 3, that go slide in, and then 1, 2, realistically, you've got 2 push tabs. So one that's that the male side is on this, and the other one, the female side, is on this. So, should be, I'm hoping, should be pretty easy to see. So that goes there, that goes there. And then that can only go one way. Push. Is that right? Come on, in you go. And then I dare say that actually push pin goes in there. Nice and easy. And then the final nut, which was a bit of a tricky one with my Allen key, but actually with this tool super easy. So that would be my recommendation, is to use one of these. I know you couldn't really see much with what was going on there, but it's a reverse of what was just took off, so I might even just skip this. That's that. We're all connected up. I'll cover the battery up in a minute. which means we are now connected to Apple CarPlay. So let's have a little play. So I'll take you off of here, and then so if you want to know how I do this, what I've got is on top of my camera mount, I actually installed that quad lock mount on the back, so that I can use the camera and see what I'm doing, hello, at the same time, and that's actually working quite well today. So this is going to be a bit of a tricky one, because I think I'm going to need the phone at the same time. So now, so it's going to be, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to change mounts. I might have another mount for this. Right, okay, so we've managed to get this thing mounted up on the dashboard, well, handlebars, and the next thing is I'm going to try and sync it up. I have absolutely no idea how you do this. Turn your Bluetooth on, then you're going to get some sort of, so switch to Android Auto mode on, connect devices, so settings, Bluetooth, and I guess we're looking for this thing. Bluetooth pairing request 802.580 pair, couldn't connect, BT manage, connected it says, allow, connected for calls and audio. Oh, something's happening. Welcome to Android Auto. Blah de blah de blah, permission, continue. Wow, so there we go. Right, okay, so we have some progress on the wiring. So as we've already seen, I've wired it through to the battery. I've connected the black cable to the black terminal, and the red one, what I've done is I've doubled it back out through that hole that I drilled, and we're connecting now to underneath this relay in this pink wire at the back. So it's just a very crude, I'm probably going to come back and do this a bit better, but for what I had in the shed, it's a bit of a crude setup. But ultimately, once I've lifted this back over, like so, and I put the side pod back on the bike, that's perfect. And it now means that, let me just get my little stool out of the way, it now means that when you, right, I'll shut the seat, and it means that when you turn the bike on, there we are, the screen comes live, and when I turn the bike off, the screen goes out. Now, what I have learnt, let me just get my mobile phone. So what I've learnt is, sit up on the bike. Oh, too many things here. Right. So when I turn the bike on, the Aoocci screen comes alive after a few seconds. There it is. And then you get to this home screen. So obviously the tyre pressure monitors are not installed yet, so press anywhere to get rid of that. Now I will tap on Android Auto. My phone is nearby, but it's not switched on. I'm not pressing anything else on the screen. We have to just wait a little while. So here we go. Come on then, Xavier. There we go. So it's now connected to my phone automatically. So that took, I don't know, 10-15 seconds or so, but ultimately you don't have to do anything. You just it will just connect up. And now what I haven't tried, so look, I can play my music there. I haven't got a headset yet. So if anyone's got any recommendations to which headset I would be best off buying, and also what I want to be able to do mostly is to be able to talk with my daughter or my wife that's going to be sitting on the back. So I'm going to need two. I think at the moment I'm looking at the Cardo Duo, something like that. So if anyone's got any advice for me on which headset to buy, please let me know in the comments. Back to this. Hope you can see it. So search, well, I can go home, for example, and start. So there you go, I'm 18. Now where's that coming from? Was that coming from my phone, that noise? Yes, must be. So exit that. So turn the volume off on my phone, click that, start. Obviously there's no sound, that's has to come through some sort of headset, but ultimately now I've got a sat-nav up on the screen, and it means I don't have to use this Honda Road Sync app, which was basically a load of rubbish. And so the next thing to do would be to go for a ride, a few rides, and just watch this and see how it works, how quickly it's working, is it following me along, etc. And then, as I say, with a bit of luck, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I will have bought some sort of comms unit, and then we can test it with the comms unit. But I think, to be fair, I still think I want to test the RoadSync app through my phone with the comms unit as well, because I've heard that it isn't the best. So it would be good just for the fact that we could rule it out or rule it in to whether the RoadSync is any good. But for now, I think that my choice of going for the C3, or I think it's called a C3 Pro, because it has those tyre pressure monitoring valves, I think this was the right choice because it's not too big. I mean, it's roughly the same sort of size as the main screen, but when you're sitting, so this is my view from here, let's say, it's not blocking the actual dashboard, so I'm getting the best of both. The only thing I'm not too sure about is whether this needs to be slightly angled up so it's facing me a bit more flush. I don't know what this screen's going to be like with the glare. I do believe there is a little one of those. Yeah, there is a plastic. There is a piece of plastic over it. It's not a screen protector, it's just the manufacturer's plastic cover. So I'll probably whip that off. I don't know if it's going to make any difference to how this works with your gloves and stuff like that. But anyway, let's go from there. Can make calls. Yeah, I think this is going to be good, especially when I've connected to a headset. But at least for now, I can use the sat nav and it will power off with the ignition, which is what we needed it to do. And we'll go from there. So the next step of this video is going to be probably over the next week or so. So it's not going to be, I'm not going to be putting this out live tomorrow. So the C3 is now attached to the bars, as we've shown you, and the last thing to do was to wire it up. Showed you wiring through the bike, and then what you want to know is how you get the power to it. So if you remove this battery cover, hopefully you can see in there, I think you probably can, with this fading light. The negative wire is this one here that goes to the battery, and then the positive one, I had to actually cut it and turn it around because there's a little fuse attached to it, and then I poked it back through, and then I've joined it up very crudely for now with this little connector onto the back of this relay, because that is a part of the bike which goes live when you turn the ignition on, which means that now when I turn the ignition on, the Aoocci comes alive. And the next thing to note is how the Aoocci connects to my phone. So I've just been away from the bike for a little while, and yesterday was the last time I used it, and nothing is switched on my phone, so I've not got Google Maps showing a map or anything. And this is basically what happens. So you turn the bike on, and I'm hoping it will connect automatically. It has got the time and date now, which means, in my opinion, I think it is probably connected to the phone. And hopefully, he says, there we go. I knew it would come. There we go. And it has linked up to my phone. So in the process of making this film, which has now been a couple of weeks in the making, I've had to do a few things, and one of the things was, in the beginning, I've probably got some footage of it. What happened is the screen would come on just fine. So for the first startup, for the first 8 or 10 minutes or so, I just rode around the car park and everything was fine. Turned it off, left it for a little while, turned it back on, and all that was happening was you just get the green load up screen, which would come on momentarily and then go off, and then come on and go off. So I had to go back to Aoocci and ask what the matter was. Bearing in mind they're from China, so there's a time difference of, I don't know, half a day, and it sort of coincidentally happened over a weekend, and they probably weren't there. So on the Monday morning, about literally 8 o'clock in the morning, my time, I got a message saying this is what you need to do. You need to update the latest software, and the way you have to do that is you're going to need a micro SD card, which luckily I have because these cameras have them. But if you haven't got one, you've then got to buy one. Then you need an adapter to put it into your computer, so you probably need to buy one of those as well. Then there's a link which they sent me, which I imagine if you're going to interface with the customer services, they would also do the same thing, which I'm not a computer boffin in any way, shape or form. I did manage to work out how to do it with a little bit of help with my next door neighbour. As it happened, what I was doing was right, but I just wasn't sure about it. So he's a bit more technologically minded when it comes to computers, so I sort of asked him, but actually I didn't really need to. And then I uploaded that little bit of software to the SD card, and then underneath here is 2 little screws which you take out, and there's a little piece of rubber inside, and there's a slot for an SD card. So you just slot it in there with the power off of the bike. You turn the power on, and you can see like a little loading screen here, and you wait. It tells me to wait 10 minutes and it should switch itself off. Oh, 7 minutes and it should switch itself off. And at that point, it didn't switch itself off. So I waited about another 10 minutes or so, and it never did. And eventually I sort of thought, well, I'll turn it off. Nothing had happened. I tried it a second time, and after 5 minutes or so, I turned it off, turned it back on again, and everything had updated and everything was good to go. So that was a little bit annoying, I will say, but wasn't a deal breaker. And it also gave me a chance to see what the customer services was like, for example. And beyond that, it also meant that I had a proper user experience. So, you know, I'm a normal person, I've bought it, this has happened. Why has it happened? Could I contact customer services? Yes, I could. Were they helpful? Yes, they were. Was there a time delay because it was from China? Yes, so that's quite typical. Imagine if I was going away on a tour and I couldn't get hold of them. Not so good, but I suspect because I was dealing with a specific person from Aoocci who was involved with the fact that they've sent me one of these for free, and not a direct customer services. I suspect that you would get 24-hour, 7-day-a-week customer services. That said, I think there are other videos on YouTube that show how to do it. So as far as that's concerned, I still think we give it a thumbs up, even though it was a bit of an issue. But I'm glad I faced that issue, because it means that, you know, when other people face it, you know that if you get that screen flashing up, it's not a problem. You just need to contact them and you need to update the software. The lady did tell me that the plan is to make sure that these devices all come with the latest software from now on. I suspect that other people have had the same issue and it's been noted by them. It could also be that, for example, my particular device had been sitting in stock for a long time, which I suspect is probably true, in which case there was an update in the meantime that couldn't have remotely done it. So I think other bits of software can be remotely or cloud-based type updates, but this is not one of them. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a separate video on the functions of the actual device and my thoughts about using it on this particular bike, my Xadv 750, and whether I'd recommend it, and has it solved my issue of needing some kind of navigation system on my bike that works the way I'd hoped it to. So I think the best thing to do is to come back and watch my next video, which I suspect will be next week's video, and from there I will have had a bit more time to get used to it and give an actual opinion on it, because I actually think this is quite a good bit of kit, especially considering the price. So yeah, let me go away, have a bit more of a think about it, and then we'll come back to you on this Aoocci C3. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.